Q. I'm going live on my. Hey Q,
Hey, ho, you going live? I got my uniform on.
you're. It's on my YouTube. No one's looking at it, so no worries. I just do it so that I can show you guys how everything works. Um, so I know Destiny, she's trying to download, I think Google Chrome or something, so she can get on here. So I'll go ahead and get started because it's recorded. So if anyone needs to see it, I'll be able to send it through the email and everybody can look at it. So real quick, I know y'all, but if you guys could go around real quick and do an introduction, we'll start with Roxy.
Hey everybody, I'm Roxy. I am on 102 Jam's morning show. We don't have a name right now. We're kind of in transition. But yes, I currently host a morning show. Winston-Salem State graduate, ran Pride, graduated in 2011. You know, girl.
All right, Ellie.
All right. My name's Elena. People call me Ellie. That's my stage name, Ellie B. But yeah, I'm a spoken word artist and I perform throughout the city and the state.
Period. Q.
We can't hear you.
My bad. I muted you. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead, Q. My bad.
So my name is Kwame Kid Shavers. I am a proud Ram alum. I graduated to Spring 11, biology and English, and I am a realtor with Keller Williams. What else you need from us?
Girl, if you go down the list of everything that you got going on,
I know it's crazy, right?
I love it though. But I am
My
on
classmate, my classmate.
Right. My classmate. Hey, Big E.
Hey.
I love to see it. So, yeah. So real quick, I'm just gonna go through what StreamYard looks like, how it's gonna be set up. I know Ellie has been a part of. God, Ellie, I feel like you on my team for real.
I'm like a vet.
You are a total vet, man. What I like to do, honestly, is use my girls within everything that I do because I know how real you all are. The others that aren't on the call, I know how real they are. And through conversations, I like stuff to flow. I just like it to be like we all sit in the living room with a glass of wine and we just having a conversation. And so even though within these conversations, it's going to be on um, it's going to be on YouTube for WSSU and Facebook for WSSU. We can be as real as we want. I just ask everybody just to like make sure we ain't using certain words. As long as we don't do that, we good. But keep it as real as you need to. I especially like this because alumni jumps on. Definitely make sure your people know about it. Oh, wait a minute, Destiny's right there. Oops, hold up. Let me get Destiny in here. There you are. Destiny, introduce yourself. The way the screen looked, I didn't see it on the top of your head, so that's my bad, sis.
Hey y'all, Destiny Kitty here.
Where are you?
Uncle Bobby's.
At the who?
Uncle Bobby's. Uncle Bobby's coffee shop.
At a conference center?
Uncle Bobby's coffee shop.
Uncle Bobby's coffee shop. Okay, got you. Girl, I heard everything outside of what you said. That was my apologies. But if you could introduce yourself real quick.
Destiny McKinney, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, student affairs higher admin, mama five, and just trying to make it in this world.
I love it. That's going to be another piece of the conversation for next week. So I'm so excited. So anyway, within this platform, like I said, Kwame, I'm meeting you. You got all this stuff going on. Okay. It again, it's just a space to be real. Destiny's been a part of what I got going on, and again, like I said, I like to have my friends that are real, that can have an open and real conversation. Alumni will be listening in. um, especially students. So it's a really nice array of people that listen into this event. The other part that's dope is once we finish, it will, post back on the page, and I'll go back 2 days later and I'll see, like, at first it might be maybe 30, 40 people jump on, but then in 2 days I go back and it's like 500, 600 views. So people really do enjoy going back and watching and listening in, because I honestly bring in some really good people. Like it's just dope. If I can make money off of this for real, so just know that may be something in the future. But for right now, y'all gonna make money. But the topic of conversation, and again, another reason why I want us to talk through this, the title is womanhood, and it's womanhood. So hood is in quotations. The reason why, for me, and hopefully, through our conversation right now, y'all can let me know what you feel, and I take notes on this to be a part of how we flow in on the 24th. What would womanhood mean to you? Hood to me is where you're from, redefining that and not letting it be a negative, like the hood is ghetto or whatever. Hood is wherever you live. Hood is your community. Hood is your family. Hood is your job. It is so many things. I just look at it as whatever sort of community you come from. So within those communities, all of us we have different backgrounds. Luckily, we all know what it is to raise children. So we understand what we want this world to look like and to be like, in order for it to be a great place for our families. Gotta go to class. Okay. But it's recorded, Q. All right, bet. So all those things. Previously we did it, and we had it. The topic was "It's Our Time." So that was dope. But for this time, I really want to get really, really deep as to what it looks like for a woman today in your job, going back to school, just all those kind of things. So I'm just gonna listen to y'all. We can go around, whoever wants to start, and just give me a piece on what womanhood looks like to you.
Who you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah. Oh, you're on. You know what? Yeah, Roxy, you can start.
Okay. So womanhood to me, keeping in mind all the things you said, is a lot of things. There are so many parts, of my life that contribute to womanhood and the woman I am. My like you said, family, job, my friends, the circle of people that I keep around me. But womanhood it changes daily. It looks different depending on like what I have going on, what my family has going on, the people around me have going on. Like, it's ever changing. You have to be adaptable, and able to go with the flow of things that are going on in your life. But it's just a lot of different things depending on what's going on, not only in my personal life, but in the lives of people around me and in the world.
Facts. Ellie?
So I would say for me, womanhood, I'd use a couple of adjectives. Womanhood for me is resiliency. Womanhood is perseverance. Womanhood, as Roxy said, is adaptability. I mean, we have to be willing and able to adapt and adjust at all times. Womanhood is strength. Womanhood is creativity. It literally is creation. Not even just creativity. Womanhood is creation. I feel like womanhood is not only a role that we carry. I feel like it's one of those things that I feel like womanhood is one of those things where we didn't get to choose it. We got put into it, and it's all about how we get to decide how we want to live it out. You know what I mean? It's not I guess today's time, without being, going too far and not being, I don't know, not saying the wrong thing. Like, womanhood is something that, you are born with. It's something that is given to you.
it's a gift. You know what I mean? It's a gift that is bestowed upon us, and it is up to us to make sure that womanhood continues to look like something that is beneficial for the world. I mean, we all know that it is. You know what I mean? I don't think that anybody ever really challenges or questions whether we need a woman in the world, whether a woman being a part of something is a benefit. I think we all realize that it is, right? That we add so much value to any and everything that we do. Any space that we walk into, we add value to that. And I think that that's just what comes with womanhood, whether you are a mother, whether you know, regardless of any other thing that you can choose, you know, your sexuality, your anything else you're choosing. But I feel like womanhood is one of those things that you just have to embrace and run with.
Make that a poem. Okay. Make that a poem. All right. Watch. She's going to end up making that to a poem. I swear. She can look at a rock and make that rock into like a galaxy. Like, it's crazy. Destiny. Wait a minute. I got you on. It's on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It's pretty much simple for me. I was just thinking, I'm like, womanhood hasn't even seen its full potential yet, and in the midst of not even seeing its full potential, we've birthed nations, civilizations, and love. At the end of the day, we're a space that needs to be cultivated, and the cultivation has been happening from within, but it's now at a time where these conversations have to start branching out. And as awesome as these are in the hood of womanhood, we have to start having these across gender, so that folks can understand the power that's of the woman in the hood, so that we can better cultivate what hasn't been cultivated by others, because we've been doing our own cultivation. We've been being the strength, we've been being the source, we've been being the power, and that's all great and dandy. But for us to be able to see our full potential, we need others to buy into womanhood.
Y'all so dope. All right. So on that subject, the next thing that I would want you guys to elaborate on, because this is how it's going to flow. So I'm asking you guys this. So even, during this week, going into next week, think about it. If there's, more that you want to, touch on, cool. This is just to warm up, right? The other subject is career. And it's almost two levels. So there is, for myself, I'd say within my career, this 14 years in Winston-Salem State, the time that I, had my almost 4 year stint, being on radio at 102 to going back to college, my career has developed in a way in which I've learned that I have to be in a space with others who are helping me to develop. So that when I go to my job, I think differently. Example, we all understand what it is to be a woman and walking into a job and you have X amount of men. That X amount is way more than us, or X amount of men that are above, that are supervising. And then for us to stand in that space and to actually look strong and be strong, and not to look weak or even in that space. And this can be in other spaces, not to be considered to be aggressive when we don't feel heard or whatever it may be. So that can be in job and relationships. And so the two layers is there's that within my career, and then there's the educational piece where I know that now it's time for me to move up. So now I got to find time to stop and go back to school. And that's what's going to help me, sadly, to look bigger and stronger within my space of, well, I say academia, even though I'm in student activities. I'm not going to look as, I'm not going to look as broad if my educational space only shows that I got a bachelor's. Even though I could stand in the space with someone with a doctorate, which I've had and I've done many times, and outsmarted them. But it's not going to look as good unless I got that paper to get that paper. So that's what I look at when it comes to the advancement within career for myself. So if y'all can go back around and tell me what you feel about that. Roxy, we can start with you.
I was thinking a bit. So for me, of course, in radio, obviously a male dominated industry, in entertainment in general, obviously a male dominated industry. It's been somewhat of like an up and down experience when you're talking about dealing with men and being respected in that space. I've always felt like I've had coworkers that have respected me extremely and truly valued my opinion and valued what I bring to the table, not only, you know, as the only woman in the group, but just as a personality in general. But I always haven't felt that same level of respect or adoration, for lack of a better word, from higher ups. Like I have the nickname at 102 or at Odyssey, which is the company that owns 102. They call me like Whirlwind Rock because they feel like I'm extremely aggressive when I'm only trying to stand my ground or make space for myself and make space for other women in the building. But that's how it comes off to them. Like I'm a hurricane coming through the building and I'm just so aggressive and so this and so that. So that's why I say it's been just an up and down for me, because I do feel the respect from my peers and the people that are on a level, but I haven't always felt that respect from the people that are higher up.
You just put something else I'm gonna put out there, but I'm gonna jump to that. That's gonna be another subject. I'm gonna hold off on that though. Destiny and then Ellie.
We don't have no fruit roll-ups. Sorry.
Oh shoot, Ellie. Today I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna find a time for Thursday.
It's okay, girl.
It's
okay. It's okay. I did it. I did it myself.
Okay, go ahead.
I did it myself. So look.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. I'll send you pictures.
I started Ellie's locks and I'm supposed to start her son's locks, but I've been so busy.
She started mine. Yeah, like she done did my whole family. Got us in the game. Thanks to you.
Y'all, this is my family now. Look.
What we talking about? Career, right? Career. So the career thing is a very strange space for me because I don't feel like I really have a career yet, right? Like I don't feel like I've really been into any particular career. I feel like I've still been really, I don't know, I guess in flux of trying to just figure out what I want to do and what it is that I'm meant to do that's going to actually bring me income, right? Like what is it that I'm meant to do? And what I've figured out, like I've in the space now where I've determined that, but I haven't figured out how to put it into action just yet. So right now I am physically working a job. Like I am working a 9 to 5. And I'm in the arts, industry. I work at the Kenan Institute for the Arts, which is a part of the School of the Arts, but I've still just been within like higher ed is what it is. I've been in higher education for the last 6 years. And I just haven't found it to be fulfilling. But I also have been in that space of looking like, well, God, in order for me to really progress within this higher education institution, I do need to go and get another degree. My bachelor's is not going to cut it. But I really also believe that everybody doesn't need to go and invest that type of money into something when it's not a guarantee that it's even going to do what you need it to do, right? And so I'm a strong component for going and getting an education and furthering your education if you need to, if that's what, the career path that you choose. But for me, I don't feel like I need to go back to school just yet. I feel like my life experiences are what I've needed and are what have prepared me and groomed me to be who I need to be for other people and to be of service to others. But interestingly enough, I've never really had to work in a male-dominated space, though. Like the job that I have now, that I've been in for almost 4 years, this was actually we just got a new executive director back in August, and it's a man, and this is the first man in the space. I mean, it was an all-women ran organization, 7 women, and it was a really beautiful thing to be able to be in that type of space because it doesn't happen that often that you can walk into any sort of institution and it be all women.
I mean, we make all of the decisions are being made by women. I mean, ultimately there's a chancellor above, but it was a really interesting space to be in, but also seeing that the aggressiveness and people assuming that you are aggressive for going after what you believe in and after what you want, it doesn't only come from the men. And that's the thing that I've noticed is that by me being just a Black woman, that has made a world of difference. Even though I'm in a space of all women, I'm still viewed as being this aggressive individual for being more outspoken. You know what I mean? All of the things that I still end up being in that same space of being this angry Black woman for calling out wrongs to myself and to my coworkers, even though it's all women. So I feel like that's just a thing that I feel like as Black women, we have to deal with. And it really is a shame, but that's where I am. I hope to, figure out how we can make changes in that.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say,
That's
Roxy?
crazy. Mm. I was just listening to what you were saying about even being in a space of women and still having that like perspective thrown on you. That's crazy.
And interestingly enough too, because before I got to School of the Arts, I went to Salem State, and I was actually still in it wasn't male dominated, the departments that I was working in. And even in that, being with all Black women, I still got the same thing. And it was not about me being aggressive. It wasn't about me, they quick to throw the B word around. Like, it wasn't that at all. It was just, I know what I deserve and I know like my value, and that's it. I know I've set up boundaries. And I think that that's the thing. I think a lot of different generations, I'm not even gonna say older, just different generations don't necessarily value boundaries. And the fact that even in the workspace, there are boundaries that need to be respected. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
Nah, that's interesting.
That's interesting.
Y'all hear feedback?
Yes.
Oh, maybe it's me. I'm sorry, because I don't hear it.
Okay. Nope, that was you. All right.
Oh, you know what? No, I'm sorry. It's my car.
Okay.
Y'all still hear it?
Let me see.
Nope.
Hello.
It's because all of a sudden it connected to the Bluetooth in the car where it hadn't been doing that. So I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Sorry.
All right, Des.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for me, I put three things down. I said the choice, the bank, uncover. The choice, the bank, and two sides of the same coin. So the fact that we have to choose career and motherhood, and this is where it falls down with having those allies and being a part in this equity piece, when our male counterparts don't have to choose. And there's out in the traditional, non-traditional, in a cisgender household, um, you got a male and a female who are both doing the same thing and have families, but the woman is 9 times out of 10 losing herself in motherhood, um, and not womanhood, right? And so having those conversations, the bank, on top of doing all of that, and 9 times out of 10 doing the positions and doing them well, we don't get paid the bank that we're supposed to get paid. Um, and then the two sides of the same coin is, for me, this thing about interchangeability and the fact that um, I stepped away from higher ed traditionally in 2013 and started doing consulting on my own. And I have to make that make sense if I want to step back into the traditional role, right? But I also have to make it make sense. And I parlay. I'm not going to say parlay. I'm a wife. I have 5 children who are ages 11 to 2. I'm working on a doctorate degree. I serve in my community. I serve in my sorority. I serve to support every HBCU known to man, including my alma mater. On top of running the household and making sure my husband don't jump off a bridge, and that all of our bills are paid, and we're not in debt. If that's not running a mini company, I don't know what is. I don't I don't just put dinner on the table. When my husband got his raise last week, his boss called me to the phone. He said, "I need your wife next to you. I need to talk to you." Because when my husband had that interview for that job, I was on the interview too. I need to talk to you because if your home life ain't stable, how you gonna be stable to hold up this Fortune 500 company and keep us afloat? I play an integral part in that. I'm a part of a. I'm a part of deal. I'm just not on payroll.
Mhm.
And so those things transfer, and those things make sense in a traditional workplace, and those things should be looked at as such, and not just, oh, she, where have you been these past couple years? I've been creating some amazing fucking human beings.
Mm.
I've been cultivating life. Now, do you want this assistance? Because I'm really good at this. So
Say that.
Shalee, I felt that. She said, I have been an intricate part of it, like who he is. Like, he didn't do this on his own. I feel that.
Girl, because I remember from the beginning. Okay, L. Woo. Okay. Um, so you guys have touched on something that's very important. Um, and to know that I'm gonna let y'all know hold on. Cody, what are you doing? Oh. Um, there we'll have one student on. And she's amazing. Her name is Jasmine. You saw her, she's like in the center because I want to make sure I have one student on whenever I do this. Because usually I like to have one student on so that they can hear from strong women and learn. Last time we had our SGA president. She's now graduating, but she phenomenal young lady. So this one, we wanted her to be SGA president, but I don't think she's going to run. But she's still going to be somewhere within my grip of leadership. So I'm excited about that. But one thing y'all touched on, and that will be amazing. I don't care. I am on a call. Get out. That I was going to touch on, which is motherhood. Those of you that know, I didn't have children, but I'm raising my sister's children, and I've been raising children for 22 years. I raised her oldest two, and now I'm raising her younger two, which are now 14 and 8, and it's a lot to. I'll say this: keep your sanity, and also stay sane. And the reason I say that, my sanity would be like that, being able to work within being still Shalee, but also not like going shell and keeping that urge of not wanting to choke them. And then being sane for me would be outside of this, still being Shalee. Because I love to travel. I like to party. I like to be social. But in that space, I'm also staying vigilant to the fact that I can't do too much because I have two individuals that are looking up to me. And not only them, I have students in Winston State looking up. Man, that bag is loud, Cody. Shh. Jeez. But not parenthood, motherhood. I'm an auntie, so I call it auntie-hood. But even though it goes beyond that, and I truly am a mother, even though they look at me and they know I'm their aunt, but they know that every step of living is me being the mother. But outside of that, you all birth children from your own bodies. So that's a whole other connection. That's a whole other will of wanting to make sure, and I feel like I have that, but I think it would feel totally like when I send them off, I don't necessarily need them to come back. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to feel that one. I mean, it's like, all right, see y'all in 3 weeks. Even though I miss them or whatever, it's not the same connection. So I want you guys to give me a piece of, give me the sane, meaning like just finding yourself in motherhood, and then that keeping that sanity in raising children. Whoever would like to go first.
So for me, motherhood initially was a real struggle because I really got, or my career started excelling or accelerating when my son was very young, like 3 years old. And so there was a lot of time that I had to spend, out networking, branding, just trying to put myself out there. And I really struggled with that because there was a guilt I had, because I felt like I was valuing career more than I was valuing being a mother, even though, looking back, I mean, it was really not a significant amount of time I was spending away from my son, but just, I mean, it was like a real struggle for me.
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, I don't know how I overcame that. I don't know how I overcame that and just became okay with, the balance of it. Because there is, it is like a balancing act when you're trying to be successful and you're trying to be, a good mom. And, Destiny talked about like the choices that we have to make as women that men just don't have to make. Like, I would, be out with my male counterparts who have multiple children and, I only have one. And they was just fine. They weren't worried about it. The kids was at home with the mama and they was good. They could stay out all night. But I wouldn't feel that same sense of like comfort, or, I just didn't have it. Like I would really feel guilty about that. And I mean, that's just one thing, like as women that, or that's one thing I won't say as women, that's one thing that I struggled with, like as a woman and as a mother. But again, somewhere, that balance was found. Now I do have, a situation where me and my son's dad are not together. And so he's a very active dad. And so I think that I stay sane because my son is like gone every weekend at this point. And so like, there is time for me to, just decompress, relax. I know he's safe. I know he's in good hands. I'm not worried about him and I have that time to myself. But that's a very unique situation. I don't know like a lot of women that have that same opportunity. Like I hear Destiny saying she got 5 and I'm like, Lord.
And you should see her with them. She have them like, I'm telling you. And I'll be on the phone with her on FaceTime. I'll just be sitting there looking at them like, I would have them all strung up. Like, God. But she have them all and they like little soldiers.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, if Kwamika could be on here, which look, yeah, show them. And they all have on there.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, that is so cute.
That is tired.
Mm-hmm. You said, well,
I said they are so cute, but I am tired.
Girl,
just looking at the picture,
looking at it.
But no, I hear, I don't know for sure. Well, I hear that it gets easier once you got like more than 3, because then they kind of click up and that they, they kind of look out for each other. That's not true? Well, look, I got 2.5, right? Like I got 2.5, and I feel like when my half is here, like when my bonus baby is here, I do feel like the other 2 are so much easier to manage because it's like she comes in and she's just a little mama, and she just rings them.
She is a little woman too. She is
at 9.
That's so true. So, Elle, what about you in motherhood? Yeah.
So for me, I think I'm in a different space. That I used to feel guilty about because of the fact that like I didn't feel like that sense of guilt that a lot of women do feel when they're not with their children. Like I just didn't feel that. And I don't know if it's because like they were with they spent a lot of time with my mom, not like the way that people just drop their kids off with their mom and the grandmothers are raising the kids, like not like that, but because we do so many shows, like we have been doing a lot and we have been extremely active, you know, in performing since and in doing shows since my son was like 2. And so it's always been like just that's been the thing. I mean, and even with when I was pregnant with my daughter, the entire pregnancy, I mean, we were doing the National Black Theater Festival. I was 9 months pregnant, you know, doing that every night until after 12, because we were hosting it. Like I've always just kind of had to be on the go, and I've always had that separation, but I feel like I've tried to make up for it in other ways, you know what I mean? But I think before I even came into motherhood, without it being an intentional thing, I think it just happened based off of how I grew up. Like my mother was very involved, but I didn't really see my mother have a life outside of being my mother. And because of that, it made me want to be sure that I did have that. Like, I don't want to just be a mother and a wife. Like I am Elena, I am Ellie B, I am who I am, and I need to be able to be that apart from them. You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that even when it comes to my marriage, like I'm very strong believing that we have to make sure that we are good, because I mean our kids gonna grow up and they're gonna go and they're gonna live their lives and they will have wives and husbands and children, and it's just gonna be the two of us. But even in that, like in the last maybe, and I don't know if the pandemic I don't even want to blame it on the pandemic. It's been like an ongoing thing in my life. It's like a recurring theme for the last few years has been like me wanting to make sure that I did not lose myself in my husband. Not just in motherhood, but for me, it was really like not losing myself in my husband because he does so much. And I'm always in a position where I'm like trying to elevate him and helping him to become more connected and making sure that when he's in the room, I'm working the room too, but not for me, but for him. And so it was like, that was what I had to come to a space of realizing, like, look, even when he would ask me, like, you know, I really need you to do this for me to help us get this off the ground, right? Like this could really have already gone off the ground if you would help me just do these little pieces. This is what you do at work. Can you do this for me in our household? And I'm like, dude, like I do that at work because I have to. But at home, like I would really like to figure out, and I feel bad. I used to really feel bad about the fact that I didn't do as much as I could have. And I do feel like he would have been further along, which ultimately benefits our household altogether, if I had taken away that worry that I was losing myself, that I wasn't investing in my own self. I was only investing in him. And so luckily he was able to be in a space where he could see that. And I don't know if it was postpartum at the same time or what, but postpartum and the pandemic, you know what I mean? Those are just two really big P's that were just like traumatizing for me. And so being at home now, where I told you we were used to being on the go all the time. And so now I'm in the house. I am a mother 24/7. And I was losing my mind because I really at that point no longer felt like I had an identity. And so that has been what I have worked on for the last 2 years, is to figure out who I am outside of all of this other stuff, because it is easy to just get attached to that in those particular labels alone.
Oh, that's deep. Des. Woo, Des.
What?
You think about our conversation, so
Okay, so I was taking notes because my mom brain, this is when I get to use it. My mom brain be forgetting a lot of stuff. But when you said mothering, no, when you said motherhood, I put down mothering and I said other mothering. And other mothering, nurturing is nurturing at its core, which is the mission, values, and vision of every HBCU campus. It's the crux for what HBCU stand on, is this notion of when you drop your babies off, you know they're going to be taken care of. That is the impetus of mothering, right? So it while we have the genitalia, it just busts open this notion of who can mother and who can be present, and it makes everybody accountable and not just us. And so that was a big piece that I just wanted to push before I got into my thing. And just like Ellie,
didn't have a seat.
I've never had the guilt of working. Honestly, when I traditionally worked, that's when I was at my finest. I was busy, I was going, but because I was doing so much and pouring into me, I could be happy, whole, and healthy when I was with my kids when they were little. Um, and That gave me joy. And so the person that I was before motherhood, and I just had a talk with my daughter about this. I'm like, she was like, well, you were this. I said, no, I was a lot. I said, I was a whole person before I had you. That whole person was the reason why you existed. I need to honor her. I need to honor
Mm,
her. Because if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be here.
mm,
I said, I can't just forget about her just because you came on the scene. I owe it to be present, but I said I still owe it to her too. And having to fight, and even to get my husband to see that has been really, 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 really difficult. Um, but for myself, even pre-pandemic, um, it was also easy to fall into it and easily forget myself. And so pulling myself out that hole and making sure that I coexist has been something I've been consistently working on. Um, whether it was therapy, whether it was making sure that I get back on my regimen and working out consistently because that brings me joy, whether it's me getting my writing done for my work, um, and now I've been this big propel for just self care and self help. Um, I was reading this book called Pussy Prayers that at first I was like, oh, what's it gonna be about? And then it was right on time because it's all about connecting with your divine femininity and getting back in touch with your pussy, which is just inside of you, not necessarily physically touching, but it's way more deeper than what the word is perceived to be.
mm,
And it was connecting with childhood trauma and generational curses and cycles and remembering and not wanting to be like the other mothers that you saw growing up and making sure that I'm not that mother that my child is like, I don't want to be. I want them to see what I want them to be. So it's not like me telling you, do as I say, not as I do. No, I want you to do both because I'm walking my path. And so
mm.
that's been a huge piece for me. And one caveat, if y'all are watching Bel Air, the new Bel Air that's on Peacock, have y'all seen it yet?
No, I need
Yeah.
somebody's login.
No, but I've been
Okay.
need.
It's
I need
it's
somebody's
so
login.
it's so freaking good. But this last episode, Aunt
Roxy, you look
Viv
like you're frozen.
is dealing with the same thing because she's trying to get back into her art and get back into she fell into Phil's political piece. And she told him, like, as much he asked what she needed, and she said, at that moment, I needed you to push me to keep working and not to give in to motherhood. But just as much as he needed her to push her, she also easily took the escape of going into motherhood. And now she's on this
Mm.
journey to save herself. So it was right on time.
Yeah, I need somebody to give me their give me their login so I can check it out. Cause I've been wanting to see that so bad. But real quick, Jasmine, if you could introduce yourself, please, madam.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, and then I just hit mic to mute myself again, right?
Wait a minute, you said what now? I'm sorry.
I was trying to see how I could mute myself too, but I see it now.
Okay.
Hi everyone. Excuse my tardiness.
Jasmine, did you introduce yourself?
What'd you say?
I
It's
said introduce
Jackie.
yourself.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Jasmine Blair. I'm currently a junior at Winston-Salem State University from Lancaster, South Carolina, with a major of psychology and a minor in political science with the aspirations of becoming an attorney. And I am a fall initiate of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I am happy to be here with all of you.
All right, go.
Mhm. I was just waiting for it. I feel like I told Jasmine. I feel like majority of my friends are AKAs. I'm like, Lord, God. But I love y'all. I do. I love you. Uh, well, this other one. Let me see, Roxy. Let me see if I can kick that one from the. Okay, boom. All right, because the other one you was froze. You was like,
Oh, my bad.
all right. So, Jasmine, I have this recorded, and I'll send you the link so you can see it. But
Okay.
ooh, okay. But I can go into this last question because all of these subjects, like my subject is womanhood, career. Um, like I said, we'd have that break where those that are mothers would speak about, motherhood. Um, and there's 3 other words that I heard you guys say, but the main one that I know that I wanted to hear more about was the angry Black woman. I would love, and y'all were touching on it, and that's why I kept saying, Roxy, oh, you touched it. That's what I wanted to talk about. But I want you guys to speak on that, because the other 2 words that came up were aggressive, and you guys didn't say this word, but it is something that I'd like to hear about when it comes to women, and it's about being submissive. And what does submissive look like? So, and the reason I say submissive is there are women on this call, and that will, let me see, 1, 2, no, actually, Ellie, Roxy, and Destiny, you will only be the 3 that are married on the call. Myself, Jasmine, Lakitha, and Kwamika, of course, are not married. But hold on. Take the dog and go to your room or something, because I'm on the call and you know this. So take him and go to the room. Go to your room with the dog. And we'll talk after this. You know what? Hold on, y'all. I'm about to.
That's that good old motherhood.
Okay.
And no, it's not funny, but it kind of is, because when we're in meetings like this, on e-board meetings, she is so quick. She is gonna she be ready.
Look,
You do. It just is funny to see her in mommy mode.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's that sanity, and that's that Jekyll and Hyde. I'll be trying my best. I'll be trying. Woo. But yeah, so submissiveness. I heard you all speak about, the levels of working at a job, and it doesn't mean that there has to be women above you or men above you. It could be either or. But there are levels of being in a job or being in spaces where a lot of times women have to like kind of lower themselves or become, and I don't know if submissive is the word, but kind of have to quiet ourselves, make yourself smaller, just so that almost you're not in the way. So that's what I wanted to hear from you all when it comes to that. I'm trying to think of how I want to bundle that. And then the last piece would be the other piece would be the angry Black woman. So I don't know if those 2 will run together or what, but let's start with the angry Black woman. And what's the other thing that's been big? The strong Black woman. Like those 2 things lately, I guess, I don't know if it was during COVID or what, but women have really been vocal about the fact that they're tired of being called a strong Black woman, because, that becomes a whole thing of itself. Like I can't be weak or sad or just feel a certain kind of way unless I look like I'm strong all the time. So okay, so whoever would like to, Jasmine, you can start. Talk to us about being a student and dealing with, because I know you dealt with this year, considered to be an angry Black woman.
Yes, I have dealt this year. Actually, that made me laugh. So basically, this year I would say that it is hard being a student or somebody. Like I hear all the time, like even though I have become an alpha woman, that I am a person who has alpha energy, alpha female energy. So I am very like on top of everything that I do. I want to make sure that everything I've done is right, it's correct, it's precise. Like that's just usually the type of person that I am. And it can be hurtful when somebody always uses the, oh, well, are you angry? Are you this? And it's like, no, I'm not angry. I'm not these things. Like I feel like it's just a social construct that's placed on Black women because a lot of individuals are scared of the potential and the power that we hold within ourselves as women because they know that we can get the job done. They know it's not necessarily so much of, are you angry? It's more of how they're feeling inside because you're able to get these jobs done. And it's one thing that I had to understand more this year. It has been harder because I'm like, well, should I take a step back? Should I not really let myself be as engaged, or should I let things fall through? And that's really how I was feeling for like a while because I just, I want to be in a place of where everyone is able to receive me in a light that I'm not looked at in that way. But at the same time, now it's just kind of like, I don't really care. Like, it's okay. Like, if somebody wants to see me as that angry Black woman, or if somebody wants to see me as that, then that's them. Because at the end of the day, like, I know who I am as a person. I know the type of qualities that I have, and I know that I'm able to get the job done when it comes to anything that I do. So it's really all about not necessarily even changing the narrative. It's just allowing people to really think what it is that they want to think, because usually it's insecurities within themselves. That's how I feel.
All right, y'all, everybody can just go around, whoever's ready.
I'm thinking.
I think you, Roxy, you touched on it when you were speaking about at work. Like they gave you a nickname. Get the door. It's Bree. Sit down. Sorry, y'all. Okay, sorry about that. Sit down. She's just like, sorry. So yeah, so you touched on that, and like you said, they labeled you. They gave you
Yes.
a nickname. I mean,
Yes.
there are times where we can be certain kind of people in certain kind of spaces, and somebody might be like, oh, and they call you Squeaky, or they may call you, but that label was an automatic. That was like putting a straight mask over who you were, and it's like, this is all you can be, is aggressive because in this space, this is how you act. So I mean that even made me mad. But yeah, you want to know that?
What I guess what I tried to do is kind of take the same attitude as Jasmine when she was saying, like, listen, I can't control anybody's perspective or perception of me. Like, if that, if that's what y'all want to call it, whirlwind rock, then that's fine. Um, but yeah, they definitely did label me. And even now, like, the smallest of things, I had to tell somebody a couple days ago, not to try and pacify me, because I said one thing, and it was with a stern tone, but it wasn't intended to come off as angry or rude or anything like that. But that's what they do, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, in that space, was it like almost like you weren't trying to be small, but they try to make you smaller so you didn't feel like, or I'm sorry. It's like I'm good. Like I'm fine. But then it's
Yeah,
like you say you're
it was
fine. It's
like,
like, oh,
yeah, it was like, well, Roxy, and don't, well, Roxy me. It's not necessary. I don't need that. That's not necessary at this time. I don't need you to do that. Everything's fine here, that kind of thing.
mm-hmm. Ellie, I saw you nodding your head. What you think?
Nah, I mean, I just, the workspace for me is just a very interesting place to be, especially when it comes to, playing it small or not. And I've never been one to play it small. I acknowledge that everywhere that I go doesn't necessarily need to be my platform, right? Like every room that I step into is not my stage. And so I try to make sure that I honor the spaces that I'm in. But I mean, like, I'm healing right now from just workspace trauma. I mean, I had a boss tell me during the pandemic, tell me that I was too much my authentic self at work. I'm a Black woman in a predominantly white institution. I am so far from my authentic self when I am here that it's one of those things where it's like, for that to be what you think.
Yeah, yes.
Can I ask what made that person say that? What happened?
It was a 40-minute rant of this part. Like I was attacked for 40 minutes verbally. And in part of that, I mean, one of the statements too was like, oh, I won a Grammy, but you'll never win a Grammy. Those are given to respectable people. Right. I mean, this stemmed off of a fact that like the person walked by, like the ED walked by and felt like I didn't acknowledge them enough that morning.
Wow.
And so out of like they just didn't get all of my attention, energy in that very moment when they walked by me and didn't speak. They took that opportunity to, I guess, just let it all out. Any negative thing.
Of intimidation based on who you are.
Oh, I mean, it was. They're not there anymore.
Oh.
I definitely do. Like I know who I am and I know boundaries and I know what I have to deal with and what I don't have to tolerate. And what I don't have to tolerate is disrespect. Even if it's from an employer. But yeah, I mean, the employers will try you and then they'll do it. I mean, this person even said something along the lines of like, I can do so much for you if you would just be nicer to me. Wow. Like I could advance your career and your husband so much further if you would just be nice to me. But I find that oftentimes
there are levels to that. There are levels to that.
It was a whole lot of levels to it, but that's again why I say like I'm in a space of healing because I've always been in very diverse environments. You know what I mean? Like this was not a thing that I'd never really had ill feelings towards white people. Like that just wasn't really the. I mean, even with everything going on, obviously it started to change, but that happened right before George Floyd and everything. That happened like 2 months prior. So like all of that stirred up just a lot of just energy around like, how do I feel about these people? Because now I'm looking at every white woman or man as you're just going to be who you want to be for me while you think that I can do something for you. But as soon as you feel like I'm going to challenge you or stand up against anything that you believe or say, I'm instantly going to be thrown under the bus and I'm going to be, the target at that point. And I mean, it was like batting practice. Again, I know, but again, because of the fact, and I know, so for me, I try to be an advocate for other people, right? Because it wasn't only done to me. I mean, this was an ongoing thing that had happened to to all of my coworkers and external partners that we had. So everybody else had kind of dealt with it. It was like, oh, it's just what it is. I got to push through. I got to deal with it. Nah, like the second time it happened to me, it was like, no, this is it. I'm not dealing with this. And I don't think that anybody should have to. Like, I don't think that anybody should have to walk into a hostile work environment. I don't think that anybody should ever have to go to work and being themselves have to wonder, am I being too much myself? Yeah. Understand that there's a level of professionalism that is expected when you go to work. But even then, even in being able to maintain all of that, for somebody to be able to say that to you, for somebody to feel comfortable enough to challenge you, is a lot, and that's what we deal with, I think, in these workplaces. And for me, that's why for me, I think I have really gotten to a space where I need to step away from the traditional idea of work and what it is that people do.
Mm.
And so like kind of like Destiny, when you talked about how you stepped away from higher ed and you decided to get into consulting work, like that is really where my mind has been, because I see that when you are not attached to a particular organization and they don't feel like they have ownership of you, things are just they move differently. The way that they deal with you is different. The way that they speak to you is different. The level of respect that they show you is just different. So that's where I am.
Yeah, I'm with that. Destiny, and this was the last question. So Destiny, so everybody can get back to their day.
And this is the loaded question, right? With everything in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say it
it
again.
is.
So this is around. You said being submissive, and then the angry black woman, and then something else. There is so much in all of those, from the titles to the expectations, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the white gaze that was present, whiteness working at its best, and respectability politics, because that's exactly what all of it is, and it's played out in society at large for so long. It's especially within our HBCU spaces. It's used as a tool, and it's weaponized against all of us, to further perpetuate harm. Why, I do not know. But I don't subscribe to it. And so, like, angry black woman, hell, my 11-year-old was defined as that at 5 years old, when she stood up for herself and just spoke vocally and would correct the teachers on how they pronounce her name. And when I went to parent teacher conference, the teacher was describing the definition. She's just so boisterous, and she did it, and she kept on going. And I was like, you're trying to describe an angry black woman for a 5-year-old little girl? I said, she done been here for 5 whole years. One of the happiest little spirits I done ever met. But because she has a sound sense of self, knows who she is, and sets boundaries and expects you to maintain said boundaries, she's an angry black woman. I said, no, but I've been here long enough to be.
Okay.
And so we gotta nip it in the bud at the very beginning, because they'll start it at the very beginning. This notion of submission, whether it be within a marriage, a partnership, work, relationship, community. It's this. I have to look at the bigger picture, and I'm like, it's not about submission. Is about power. If you want to be real, if you want to play around with the word. If you were about relationship and you were about connection, you would be fulfilling the needs that need for me to be successful. And there will be ways that I can let my guard down that would to you feel like submission, but it would actually be relational capacity being exchanged between the both of us. But you have to have the emotional capacity to be able to be in that space to do so, and the emotional intelligence. And that's where we lack. The fact that people want to bring up submission lets me know that you're not emotionally intelligent enough to be on my level to have the conversation, and you just want to play with power and control. And I can't play with power and control, because I don't want to be controlled, nor am I trying to control you, right? So also about word usage. If you want me to not be who I am, stand in my birthright, push forward in things that I know for me to be true, then don't hire me. And that's pretty much where I'm at. Even when I get consulting jobs, I had a firm out here reach out to me, a Jewish org that will remain nameless, who wanted my work around radical inclusion. And I told them off top, you're not about to hire me to go into spaces with people who look like me to make them think that you're a space that is comfortable and that is going to be safe for them to be in. I said, if we're going to do work together, I'm going to shine a mirror on you to show you who you are, so you can fix who you are, so that once you fix who you are, the light that you shines will attract the people that you want. But what I'm not going to do is put you in those spaces by virtue of me to do more harm.
And needless to say, they did not want to work with me. And I understood that. But I'm in this space now. I'm like, racism, sexism, all of the isms can be so bold. And like real life, this therapy, y'all, it like I be in a corner rocking, crying, like, oh my God. Because so much has been done, you have to undo it just to get back some years of your life if you want to live longer. I'm like, it's so blatant. Why can't I be as blatant to be like, hell no, I'm not standing for it.
Right.
And so I'm just pretty much, that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to be just as blatant as all the isms are in whatever space I go in. And if you can't tolerate it, that means I'm not supposed to be in that space. Am I going to disrespect you? Am I going to cuss you? Am I going to hurt you? No. But I'm going to let you know that this space is going to be a space that enriches me and my people and everything that I stand for, or it's not for me. I ain't got time to do nothing else. I don't have time to negotiate my humanity, to negotiate my womanhood, to negotiate my feelings. Because 9 times out of 10, whatever work that I'm doing in that space is not only going to set me free, but everybody else that's been quiet about what's been going on in this space is going to get set free as a result of the work that I'm going to do. And I don't need to do it under oppression.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. And so I've made that. And I do have privilege. I have privilege. I told y'all where my husband works and the partnership that I'm in right now. I have that privilege to be like, nah, I'm not working there. I'm not. And then at times I don't feel like it's privilege because shit, I gotta work with these 5 kids all damn day every day, and I be tired. I be wanting to go talk to adults. I be wanting to have these conversations, but I also don't want to quote unquote escape from them and go into another form of hell and be like, I'm going crazy and I gotta go back home and be happy with these people. No. I deserve peace. I deserve to be in a place that uplifts me as I continue to lift. So I've just gotten at that point to where I can no longer settle. And so I'm just being honest about that and being straightforward about that and calling those things out. So when those those labelers, those identifiers come out, I know that it's not me. It's the person who's using them, and I turn it back on them. Like I said, I'm gonna show you the mirror. You go ahead and talk about you because I'm fine. But clearly there's something about me that triggers you, and you got to work out your trigger.
So that's how it's gonna go, y'all. And I'll tell you the reason why I like to record these meetings. If you see the ones that I've had with the men, you start to realize, and I wish we had within our lives more time. I wish we had the resources as far as money. I wish we had space as far as bringing people together, all the time and having certain conversations. We don't have that to be on a level where we could do it like constantly, like, okay, this week we're going, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like we have to create that. Like, I want to be the one that starts this, gets people sitting and talking and saying, you know what, we need to bring circles like this together. And it's going to help me with my sanity to talk to people and know that I'm not the only one. I can be
like Soul Focus Sundays.
You said what?
I said, sound like Soul Focus Sundays.
Wait a minute, is that a real thing?
Yeah, I started Soul Focus Sundays back in 2017, and then the pandemic hit, so it took a break. But it was basically where women came together, predominantly women of color, would come together on Sunday for like an hour and a half. There would be a group meditation. It would be a small, like, beginner's yoga session, and then followed by that was like a women's discussion of just about whatever it is that was going on, just as a way for women to be able to, pour out and pour into each other.
Is that something that you're going to be bringing back?
Yeah, I actually have been discussing bringing it back for a little while now, and have been trying to figure out what the new version is, like what this looks like now in 2022. And what I had decided was that I was going to take out the yoga aspect of it and figure out how it could be more of being in relation with one another.
What about virtually?
I mean, I'm down for virtual. I just feel like so much comes from being in person with one another. I mean, like even down to like we've been doing Leadership Winston-Salem, and we started in October and we started in person. We were in person for the first couple sessions. The last 2, then in December and January and February, we went virtual. And I mean, you could just feel the disconnect, even though we had been working with each other, collaborating with each other, building relationship with one another for months. But that quickly, it just kind of dissipated. And so last week, we actually came back together and we're in person again. And it really is just a different vibe. Like to feel each other's energy, to be able to feed off of one another's energy, I think is just necessary when it comes to these type of things.
You're right. I was gonna say, if you ever want to do it, you can use StreamYard platform, because I just feel I love in person. I do. But I know that, by doing this, I'm able to reach more people that wouldn't be able to show up at Winston-Salem State. People can just like tune in. So if you ever think that you want to do that, or I might make that a thing still to do virtually and slide some coins in your pocket. Because I'm trying to, I ain't trying to make it like I'm rich with money, but I got some funds from Black Voters Matter. So I'm trying to find creative ways to utilize that money and also connect the community just like this. So when I say that just means I know a way that I can use some funds, even though it takes a while sometimes for it to, we're working on that. But that's pretty much it. I'll just show y'all one thing. If you guys saw to your right, there's a private chat. You guys can see that private chat. Oh, Jasmine actually used it. Yeah. So when we're talking on next Thursday, a lot of times, just like Jasmine did, people will like comment to each other and like, let's say Ellie says something and somebody might comment and be like, girl, yeah, because da-da-da-da-da. And it might be something that you said privately, or you might drop in there and say, hey, Shalee, when you come back on, can you bring this up? Because I'd like for us to talk about this. Or Destiny, can you touch more on when you spoke about da-da-da-da? And what it does, like, other than the interruptions of the day, I won't have those next time, but it makes everything look like a little TV show, and we're just flowing and we're conversing with one another, and it just looks like my favorite show, which is The View. Okay, so we just flow. So use that chat at the very beginning. When we start, you guys will see this ain't the commercial, but I'm gonna show you kind of how as soon as 7 o'clock hits, I'll play like this will happen, something like this. I ain't gonna play it for long, but okay, won't be that. But I always create a cute little clip, and it has like all our pictures, tells who everybody is, and it runs for about 30 seconds or less, and it runs. And as soon as it ends, it pops up and it'll be me. And then what I'll do is one by one, I'll bring you on. Well, actually, excuse me, I apologize. At the very beginning, you'll be the first one on, and you'll open up with a poem. And then once she opens up with the poem, then I'll come on. And like I did last time, I just gave her a quick interview about her poem and say, so how did you come about that, the theme of that poem or something? And we'll just kind of warm it up. And then I'll say, all right, Elle, introduce yourself to everyone. And then after that, I'll start bringing y'all in one at a time. And when I bring you in, you'll do your own introduction. Then I'll say, all right, y'all, let's get to the first question. And then I'll drop the question and you guys will go around and answer. I'm going to go back and watch the video, and I'll say this. If you guys think of something else, you see how I get you? That powder? I know. Not that powder. Sorry. That sounds weird, y'all. I'm getting ready to dye somebody's hair, and the powder, that powder get you, girl. That powder. And it mixes with the dye. Okay. But if you guys think of anything else, Destiny is good for taking notes. She does that all the time. She'll take notes of things during the next week and a half or so. If you want to take notes and kind of get yourself prepared, like, oh, I don't want to forget to talk about this when we talk about womanhood or motherhood or whatever it is. Just keep your little tablet. And there was one other thing I wanted to bring up. And I want to also I like to talk about womanhood and everything coming from a woman's perspective, but I also like to bring up things that are just kind of a blanket situation that is just out in the world. And the one thing that I really want to bring up is critical race theory, and not talking about critical race theory itself, but the importance of it. Like, we're seeing how now they're trying to say it shouldn't be taught in schools when it's, the more I'm talking to my intelligent friends, it's never been taught in schools. It's something that you got into when you got to college, because you got to college or you enrolled in a university and you went to class and you decided to learn more about critical race theory. They didn't teach that in elementary schools. Our kids are walking around looking like Boo Boo the Fool when they get, and there's two clips. I'm a text y'all, not text y'all. I'm gonna drop it in the email. I don't know if y'all saw it, if y'all already saw it, whatever, but I'm gonna send it to y'all, where a young black man was in school and that white boy walked up, dropped cotton on him, threw cotton on him. You saw that? Threw cotton on him, and then took a belt or something and acted like he was whipping him.
Start whipping them, yeah.
And you heard people giggle. Actually, if you go to my IG, because I posted it, go to my IG. I posted it today. And it's crazy how there was kids in the background giggling about it. It was like, oh shit. And then somebody was like, and they giggling. That black boy got up and went after him, but then the video cut off. And of course, the school saying that they're investigating, trying to see where it started. It ain't about where it started. That white boy walked in. Exactly. Right. I know.
See,
so I want y'all to look at that, because what I plan on doing is bringing that clip up. I'm going to bring up, there's two clips I'm going to bring up during our conversation and let y'all talk about it. That's one. The second one is, I don't know if you guys saw, and I posted it. And when I tell you, when I saw it, I'm telling you, I busted out in tears. First, I was like, oh God. It was a little black girl, and her mom was doing her hair. I don't know if y'all saw this. And she just turned around and she said, Mama, I'm ugly. And she said, what'd you say? She said, Mama, I'm ugly. And the mom just put everything, she was doing the little girl hair. She was like, don't you say that. And the little girl, she was like, but I am. And I'm getting chills now. She was like, don't you say that. You're beautiful. She grabbed her face and she was holding her face. She was like, you are beautiful. You are strong. And I mean, the thing is, you take these things out of schools where these kids don't realize how beautiful and strong they are. And they're quiet about it. They don't say anything. And then there's one thing that may trigger something, like the little girl, her mom was doing her hair. And I think she was looking at herself on the phone or something. I can't remember. And it triggered her to say, I'm ugly. Her mother would have never known that she thought she was an ugly child. I mean, if you look at her, she's a dark-skinned little baby girl, and she didn't have straight hair. She had, pretty kinky hair. And there may be times where somebody told her, oh, you're dark, or your hair is kinky, oh, et cetera, et cetera. And what is she to say? I guess I am ugly. I mean, what else is out there that shows me as a little black woman that I'm beautiful? What is it that in my history lets me know that I'm strong? And, with us not having the critical race theory, even though that's not even a real thing, it's a label that was created to make what we need to learn more about, or our kids need to learn about, which I'm pretty sure in y'all's homes, you're doing that yourself. But these white kids ain't learning it. Some of the black kids aren't hearing about it because the parents really don't even know who they are. So that's something else that I want to bring up. But
Shelly,
I'm gonna drop it.
when you do it, I think a good way to, like, if you can, and I can send you a kind of concise definition so
Okay.
that it makes sense, because critical race theory is very much real, right? Kimberly
Mhm.
Crenshaw, black woman, is brought it up, like, along with some others in the legal world. It comes from the legal world, and looking at things with a critical lens around race and how things were strategically done to eliminate and keep resources from, and red line, and all of those things, right? So, but it's not necessary, but it's with what's going on and how everybody's playing it is like, oh, Black History Month, critical race theory. No, that has nothing to do with nothing. These books that they're banning have nothing to do with nothing. It's just something to do, to act like they're doing. When it comes down to critical race theory, it's the policy. It's the
Right.
policy and procedures. It's how these schools are created, where they're created, where they're zoned, the type of curriculum that they will teach,
who's where this curriculum's coming from, where the quote unquote books are coming from, but it's not necessarily what like media has made it to be. Like they've dumbed it down a whole lot when it's really when it's that critical at the beginning of it. When you put critical in anything in education, it takes it like 1800 steps further than what the traditional student would think of, because we're not
Right.
taught to think critically in public school
Right.
systems.
Right.
We are taught to regurgitate what's been taught to us and leave it at that.
Mhm.
The critical lens is analyzing and challenging the notion of what once was, and that's what
Mhm.
we're not taught to do.
Right.
And people can go ahead and say that that's critical race theory when you sit up here and talk about the fact that you have all these inner city kids who just have to regurgitate information. But if you go over here, like in Philadelphia, to one of these Quaker schools, and you go into a third grade class, and you're like, yes, AB squared plus B squared plus C squared or whatever is Pythagorean theorem. Now, give me another way. When have you ever known that there could be another way to do Pythagorean theorem? I never knew that. It was just Pythagorean theorem. I didn't know that there was no other options.
Mhm.
These are the people that get to create the other options.
Right.
And these people are normally white. That's
Mhm.
where critical race theory comes into play.
Right.
It's notions like that. But Fox News and company can dumb stuff down to make it as simple as, oh, no Black history presentation, or oh, we're gonna eliminate this book. No, it's much bigger than that, fool.
Right.
So just don't get caught up in the propaganda.
And so that's what I meant. And I didn't mean to say it's like not a real thing, but I meant on the Fox News level, they're making it where it's making their children feel, and it should, and that's their problem. It's making their children feel like they have to feel guilty about something. No, I don't know if y'all saw where the white girl said it, and she said it's not about you. No, it was a black girl. Somebody said, I don't know. It's not about you. It's a white girl. Sorry. Your child feeling guilty. It's that you are now feeling guilty because that was your grandma. That was
Right.
your grandpa. That was your family. So now your child is going to learn when they look. Boy, ain't nobody doing that.
Now you got to answer the questions that we be answering at home.
Right. Uncle John Brown. Well, who was Uncle? That I saw in the book, Uncle John Brown. Oh, that was Uncle John Brown, like my uncle. That was the one that was hanging. You know that picture when that one white man was pointing. I wish I knew who he was, because that's where I go for his whole family. Pointing at the slave, the black man that was hanging. When they find out that looking at that picture, that's actually a member of their family, that's what you don't want them to learn. That's why you want to stop this, because once they start digging and learning their history, they're going to start to hate their families. And you don't want them to hate their families. So, yeah, I want to bring that up because I know that that'll be deep. And to hear from women's perspective, I thought that would be amazing. So, I don't went over 30 minutes, but I'm going to tell you, these conversations are amazing. I have amazing friends. So, and that's pretty much how it'll flow. So, unless y'all got any other things, like how Destiny says she'll send that, and I'll definitely, Destiny, like as soon as I go into it, I'll copy and paste it and drop it into, well, let me show y'all again, another thing.
And FYI, actually, there's critical race theory for like everything. Like there's a critical race theory as a whole. Then there's a critical race theory for adult education, a critical race theory for education, a critical race theory for sports, there's a critical race theory for every facet of our lives.
Wow.
So
see, I think that would be, I think it would be perfect for you to be able to
no, nigga. I'm just giving you that. I paid attention in one class. I'm not gonna be the Negro that no.
So as you see this scrolling, it don't matter because you're gonna do it anyway. I'll drop the definition so that people can see. And when I'm asking questions, I always put the question right there at the bottom so that as people are watching, they can continue to connect to what we're discussing. And then, somebody tunes in late, jumps on there, they can look and say, oh, they're talking about blah, blah, blah. So again, like I said, if you all have any, anything as we go along that you want to drop in the chat that I need to add or keep going, because I'm not the most intelligent. A lot of you are way more intelligent in your spaces, and that's why I have y'all here. And like they said,
and that's what, ma'am, I gotta stop you on this defining womanhood piece, and you got one more time to slight yourself on this call.
Shut up. That's not what I'm
You got
doing.
one more time to do it. You got one more time to do it. We
What
all
else?
nuh-uh. We all got power in our own right. What the X-Men, the Avengers, whomever. Hey, who was that when? Who was a little what when Captain America was able to wield the throne and to get the damn thing at the end of the day? You don't know what you're able to do until you got to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm truthfully, you wrangle a whole bunch of children together every single day. And you wrangle in a group of adults who feel like they are grown, but still ain't mentally there yet. So that's even more taxing.
Yes.
Okay, that's my real friends. Y'all my real friends.
So stop doing that.
Yes. Okay, I will not express it that way. I'm just saying.
Don't even express it no way. Hey.
There's nothing to be said. Okay, I'm done. I'm never saying it again.
Right. So you got to stop putting energy into things. You put power into things when you speak on them.
That's why I got friends like y'all. Y'all just inspired me. I will never say it again. I promise.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Roxy, how old is your son?
8.
Okay, so
Cody, Lord Jesus.
And Destiny, you got any boys? I know you said 11.
Yeah, he's 2.
Your boy is 2. Okay. Because I did have a question. Like we don't have to get into it now, but I really am curious about other mothers that are parenting young Black boys right now. Because my son is 7, he'll be 8 this year, but we are dealing with some things when it comes to school and the way that he is already being labeled and, just being labeled as this aggressive little Black boy, as they already always are. And I'm just in a space of just trying to connect with some other mothers who have young Black boys in that same age group and just seeing where. So I'd love to talk.
Has your son had a Black teacher?
No,
not neither.
I just wrote that down. So
predominantly, at this point, he's made it clear to the guidance counselors. Like, the guidance counselor is telling my mother when she called that, like, he's made it very clear that he wants to be at a school with more kids who look like him. Because he just does. They keep putting their hands on my child, and then he's being labeled this aggressive child for hitting back. Because we've taught him to defend himself, right?
Right.
And, well, we don't teach them to do that. We teach them to tell or to forgive or whatever else there is.
Cody just went through that.
Right, but every day we're getting these calls, these emails about how he's attacked somebody else. He's put his hands on somebody else, but it's always in response to somebody else.
I swear, this just happened 2 weeks ago. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's not just with the Black boys, it's with all of our children, because I've had to deal with that from day one, from putting them into the school system. I can show you, I have files on files of, like I said, when she was 5, and remember the note that Kevin Hart talked about in his stand-up that got sent home about him from his teacher? Okay, I got one of those notes for my baby in her 2nd week of kindergarten, and she was in a predominantly white area because we were in Texas at the time. And the teacher attempted to use the students as a way to help de-escalate the issue. It was not helpful, and my child threw a tantrum as a result. And she was a 5-year-old trying to first week of class, she was taken out of her original classroom and put into this classroom with this new teacher who literally just graduated from school 2 weeks ago. And she had no experience, and she just, everything that they're taught, you have to, this is where critical race theory comes in. You have to go back to what they're taught. And they are currently taught that our kids learn at a deficit. They are taught that. I have sat in these classes and challenged them. They are taught that. So I had the privilege of being at Texas school, right? Dealing with, at that moment, that girl that I was dealing with, who was her teacher, my best friend was the dean of students at that school. So I was able to go check that. When we got to another school, the teachers who were teaching my kids were graduates of Texas State University, where I was getting my doctorate in education. I knew the dean of students. Let me go to the college education. I need to tell you how you're impacting my family. Not only do I have to deal with the racism in your program, my babies have to deal with it in the school with the products of the people that you push out. So you have to challenge them, because the next thing is going to come up is with his testing. And if he's 7, oh, well, his letters are backwards. Yeah, there's dyslexia. I I had somebody ask me, the dyslexia run in your family. Ma'am, you're a teacher. You are not a psychologist. You cannot diagnose any of us. And just for information, their grandmother, who's a master teacher in special education, knows when they're supposed to be tested, how they're supposed to be tested, and it's not right now. The window hasn't even opened for them to be tested right now. You don't give black and brown babies the ability to reach the development. They have to go and they have to be there now. And if they're not, then there's something wrong. There's a deficit. So you have to keep your emails. You have to keep attacking them, and you have to be blatantly honest. We've only been here 2 years. I had to pull a teacher aside, along with the principal, along with whoever the aide was, since principal. Okay, I already know what it is. You're already afraid of me, and I don't care that you're afraid of me. I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. But what I am going to let you know is I'm going to call you out for your bigotry. I'm going to call you out for your inherent and biased racism. This is where that lies in. And you just have to call it out for what it is and put everybody on notice. And then they'll back the hell up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is strenuous. It takes a village. I had to literally reach out to my friends that were in elementary and middle school education to figure out the systems, to figure out how the tests work, to figure out, okay, what do I got to put in this letter, what I need to say here. I had to pull on my resources to navigate those spaces, and that could be a topic that we discuss, that we have to, because I know all of us are not, because I left Texas, and I had a mom just call me last week, broke down on the phone with me for 3 hours at the school that we just left. The very same thing that I dealt with my babies there, they did it to her baby. And she was like, I didn't know who to call, and I thought to call you. And I'm like, okay, here, I need you to contact this person, because the ball has to keep rolling. It can't stop when we leave, right? Even though I'm gone. And I'm like, here, this who you contact in Austin IISD main office. It was people in the main office who hadn't met me, but I would be in a think tank somewhere in the city, and my name, and it was like, oh, you're Destiny McKinney. Y'all got emails about you, because I wasn't playing with none of them. Wow. Everybody knew me across Austin because I called them out and I held them accountable. And once you use their language and you call out their shit, and it's so when we walk in our purpose, people will come to you. I was in the shop getting my incense, getting my crystals, getting some stuff. Who next to me? Oh, somebody that worked in the district in Philadelphia, and I'm new to the district, and we get cool, and he's like, oh, what's your problem? What's going on? Contact this person, get to this person, tell them to ask to this person. So now I know the language of Philadelphia. So I'm like, who's your climate control person? I need to see when they're coming to campus. Put me on the call. Oh, she knows such and such. So now it's, oh, let me call Miss McKinney right back. Oh, let me do da. So you have to get inside of the system like any other system, and you got to know it inside and out, because it's built to attack our babies and to tear them down. It's not, if you don't have the money to pay for them to be free, they're not. And you have to look at it like that.
Thank you.
Did that help, Elle? I mean, because
yes, and
I know in my head I was thinking most about
because I mean, I know that it's not just me. Like she said, it's so many of us dealing with that type of situation, and just knowing how to navigate it makes a world of difference.
Are you in Winston?
I am.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all been seeing me do a lot. We trying to move today.
I was like, no, I thought you were putting a bed up. I was like, nah,
I'm trying to take it smart.
Womanhood. That's motherhood. That's everything.
I'm trying to take it smart. And when the people came a couple years ago and put it together, they did a horrible job. Like they done stripped the screws. It's just.
Oh Lord.
So
it's gonna take a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah,
all right.
Build your community at that school. Like find other mamas. I would just be in the parking lot coming out, and I would find moms would be like, hey, what about this? From whether it was black moms to my white allies in their space. Because I had one lady when I came out, because my baby, one of the most vibrant ones, was talking about she was ready to end her life and tired. She was like, I'm tired of this, because she was isolated. All of my babies were the one in their grade. And they had to deal with all of that. And when I got finished trying to educate the white teacher who was on the south side of Austin, which was predominantly Hispanic, but for some odd reason your entire staff was white. That's intentional behavior. And let me tell you what your intentional behavior has induced trauma on our babies. And when I came out, and a woman who just happened to be at my church where we deal in race and reconciliation. Oh, hey, Destiny, I just met you yesterday. What's going on? I said, I need you to go get your people. What you mean? I need you to go get your people. This is what happened. I need you to go talk to her because for some reason she's going to hear it from you better than she heard it from me. And I need you to do it now because I just talked to her. And if you go back and you rebut on my behalf, she's going to know it's a problem. That's what I need from you right now. Thank you.
That's usually the resources right there for real.
These folks be saying they want to be allies and co-conspirators and accomplices and shit. I be ready to sit there. Come on, let's rob this bank, bitch.
Put
Let's
it
go.
into action. Fact. Put it into action.
Like, you ready to ride? I've been ready. Let's go.
Come on, Sojourner.
Shut up.
I'm just saying. All right, beautiful ladies. So we will if there's, like I said, if there's anything, text it to me, email it to me, and we'll get this out there. Please let your people know to be on this call. I mean, to jump on the, all they got to do if they want to plug in, Roxy, you already know how it is. You ain't gotta, you can put in the earbuds, you can do whatever, just listen in, because this is going to be a really, really good situation. I mean, we talking now, but I mean, we missing two others that are very vocal, very vocal individuals. So this is going to be really, really good. I mean, I'm super excited.
Shalee, can you email me the link for that night too? Because I want to put it in my story when I post it, so people can just easily click on the link.
So it's on. I'll send you the Facebook link because it's just a Facebook link. So I have to wait. What is it? Facebook or YouTube? No, it's YouTube right now. I have to wait a week out before Facebook will allow me to post it through StreamYard. StreamYard will not allow you to promote a past or before a week. YouTube, you can start promoting early. So, but I'll send you what I have to put out there because I didn't even think about that. I'll send that to y'all. But really, all they got to do is on the day just go to the WSSU page, and we'll be up there. But I'll send you the link too. Yep. But I'm excited. So, thank you, ladies. Yeah, I'm excited. I love these kind of conversations. Oh, it's L jumping on another one. Okay. So that'll be it. And y'all enjoy the rest of your week. Stay blessed. And I'll see y'all on the 24th.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shalee. Love y'all.
Nice meeting y'all.
Nice meeting y'all too.
What'd you say?
You in Miami, right?
Yeah, I am.
Girl, bye. She on spring break. Whatever.
I'm in the yams.
Good night,
I'm
y'all.
being responsible though. I'm being responsible. I promise.
Please
I've
be
been safe.
responsible.
I will. I've been wearing my mask. I've been responsible.
I've been wearing my mask. That's funny.
Yeah.
I have. Nobody
That's
else
the only
has
time
in
she's
Florida.
responsible. She ain't talking about taking shits. Get your store on, Destiny. Get your store.
I'm wearing my mask. I ain't got nothing else on, but I got my mask.
Yeah.
Have fun. Y'all be safe.
I will.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.